Good morning, everyone. My name is Stanley Atkins II, and I am the National Director of Farming, Hemp, and Farming Technologies for Minorities for Medical Marijuana. Welcome to this month's episode of Sow the Land. Have you ever wanted to start your own farm? Do you currently have your own farm? Have you had a history of family members that farmed in the past? Well, if so, then definitely tune in today because we've got some great farming resources for you. Today's guest is going to be Miss Nikki Onuoha. Nikki is going to be joining us from the U.S. Department of Agriculture FSA office out of Florida. And I know people are asking, what is the USDA or what is FSA? For people who may not know, many of you may think this is common knowledge, but everyone doesn't know. The United States Department of Agriculture is a governmental entity that really governs many bodies of our industrial business when it comes to agriculture and farming. And today's guest just happens to be a specialist from that field in the FSA, which is the Farm Service Agency. Just a little bit of background about Nikki and how all of this came to be. I'm going to give you some information about Nikki and her professional experience in this field. So Nikki is currently a USDA Farm Service Agency out of Palm Beach, Florida, and Broward counties. She is the executive director of that county. Nikki currently working in the Royal Palm Beach, Florida Service Center. She also has 3 years experience in directing and managing various programs and administrative operations for one or more counties in order to carry out permanent commodity production, commodity facilitation plans, as well as conservation, environmental quality, indemnity, disaster emergency programs, as well as crop insurance operations. A Florida International University alumna, she also has a professional master's of science degree in environmental policy and management, a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Studies with a major in agriculture and agroecology certificate. In her words, my work is my passion, and my mission is to advance this career to outreach to more producers and service my customers appropriately and professionally. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my profound guest, Miss Nikki Onuoha. Good morning, Nikki. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. How are you doing this morning, Stanley?
I'm doing great. Excited for this episode. I've been receiving a lot of questions from people in regards to farming. The South is really big for agriculture. And sometimes when these farmers have some of the questions, they may not even pertain to hemp. I know that normally these Sow the Land episodes are centrally derived around hemp operations and hemp processes. But before we can even get hemp plants in the ground, you need to have your farm set up the correct way from the beginning. And I felt that you would provide so much great information for us. So I gave them a little bit about your professional background, but what could you tell, anything would you like to elaborate to tell them a little bit about Miss Nikki Onuoha?
Of course. And hi. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me this morning and showing our webinar. And I hope that you enjoyed this webinar. And for me, during my journey at Florida International University, located in Miami-Dade County, Florida, I was a recipient of the Multicultural Scholars Program Scholarship, which was funded by the USDA. And while I was majoring in chemistry at the time, I was also working with the university in the campus organic garden and soil microbiology lab. MSP allows students to learn how to grow various crops organically, provide information on soil and plant nutrients, work with graduate students on their theses regarding projects associated with plant biology and the environment, and create nutrient soil solutions in the lab. The agroecology certificate program offered at FIU exposed me to a career in the agriculture and environmental policy. I changed my major to environmental studies upon completion of my bachelor's and completed internships with the USDA Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, APHIS, and the Natural Resource Conservation Service, which is NRCS, and eventually joined the USDA Farm Service Agency team, FSA, while in FIU's master's program. Personally, I've always loved our environment and wanted to learn about it. That interest has grown throughout the years and hasn't changed. If we take time to understand our environment, we the people will live happier and healthier lives and be able to see changes occur to our environment in the future.
Wow. So I think it's a very safe assumption to say that you had a general vested interest in wanting to learn about agriculture. You wanted to learn about environmental studies, eco-sustainability, and things of that nature. I know that Florida has a lot of incentive programs for college students. We need more students to be interested in agriculture because agribusiness is the future. So I know that in Florida, they have more hemp than we may have in Georgia. And that starts with, the setup of the farm. So I know we had some questions and we're going to get to your presentation in just a moment. But I wanted to ask you, from your experience, what is like when you came into the USDA, what was the first thing that you were thinking, what were some of the things like, all right, this is big farming? Because many people have never been on a farm. What was your first initial thoughts of working with the USDA and the FSA? Like the first thing you thought about when you started working with them, what was your impression of working with the USDA, given your background?
Okay. To be honest with you, when I first joined the USDA Farm Service Agency, I didn't really know what that entailed, but I did know that they were servicing farmers at the time. But I was hired during the Hurricane Irma disaster event. There was a lot of producers that were affected by that in South Florida. So during then, I had to come in and kind of just help with, producers kind of complaining about trees being lost, for example, or, besides trees being lost, they weren't able to, have sales, for example, or it's just even in regards to that, a lot of producers just kind of came to us and weren't even registered with us at the time, but they needed help. They just needed help trying to get their farm from how it was before to how it was, kind of now. Basically, they like clean land leveling or just kind of grading and shaping. They just kind of needed help restoring their farm to how it was prior to the disaster hitting that, their land. So with that being said, it was my job at first, which is kind of to, deal with the customer service at the front desk and gather their documentation provided to us. And at that time, I was receiving training in the Farm Service Agency. So I was learning the documentation. I was reading the various crops that, are eligible in terms of different programs that we do administer and how to just kind of help them and what program best fits them. Like what program is more applicable to them. For example, we had like the tree assistance program at the time for producers that lost their trees, bushes, or vines due to the natural disaster, for example, and needed help with the reimbursement needed help with reimbursement in terms of practice completion and restoring their land. Oh. Or we had the WIP, which is the Wildfires and Hurricane Indemnity Program, for example, where producers will apply for that program and kind of receive reimbursement for production and crop losses.
Oh, wow.
So there's different programs at that time that I was able to come across when I first started. And at that point, I was learning, but at the same time, trying to help those producers who needed assistance immediately due to that natural disaster that really just kind of stopped operations for them, and expenses for them, and kind of us, as well as the community, provide resources to the community timely.
Wow. So let's just say we have someone on currently who has never heard of the USDA. It's kind of difficult in America to not at least heard of it. So what is the actual official role of the United States Department of Agriculture? And what role does the Farm Service Agency play in that?
The United States Department of Agriculture is responsible for overseeing farming, ranching, and forestry industries, as well as regulating aspects of food quality and safety nutrition labeling. The Farm Service Agency is an agency of the USDA that serves all farmers, ranchers, and agricultural partners through the delivery of effective, efficient agricultural programs for all Americans. The agency provides America's farmers with a strong safety net through the administration of farm commodity and disaster programs. FSA's long-standing traditions of conserving the nation's natural resources continues through the Conservation Reserve Program. The agency provides credit to agricultural producers who are unable to receive private, commercial credit, including special emphasis on beginning, minority and women farmers and ranchers, and purchases and delivers commodities for the use in international humanitarian food programs.
Wow. So I think it's safe to say that the USDA was created to be the governing body of the green space in North America.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that kind of leads me into my next question. And what is, so I'm a farmer, or I want to be a farmer, or I'm a person that my grandfather may have left me an acre of land, and I say, you know, I want to grow some apricots and maybe some cashews. What are some of the first steps that a person that wants to become a farmer or a current farmer should take when establishing their farm as an actual entity? And what I mean is the actual farm registration, because I've met a lot of people that are growing fruits, nuts, vegetables, even livestock, and they aren't even registered as a farm because they didn't consider themselves a farmer. So what are the first steps that a person should take when establishing themselves and registering a farm?
First, you want to make sure your farm is registered. If you purchase land, it might already be established with the USDA's Farm Service Agency with a farm number on file. If not, FSA can help you register your farm. To obtain a farm number, you'll provide an official tax ID, which is a social security number or an employer ID number, a property deed, and provide completed Form 80-2047, which is producer information intake. If you do not own the land, provide a lease agreement to your FSA representative to show you have control of the property. If your operation is incorporated or an entity, you may also need to provide proof that you have signature authority and the legal ability to enter into contracts with the USDA.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what she's advising is if you want to register your farm, is similar to setting up a business. When you start a business or you start an LLC or a for-profit, there's paperwork that you fill out, and that EIN number, guys, for those who are business owners and for those who may not be a business owner, that EIN number, as she said, is pretty much the social security number of your business, your employer identification number, and you register that because now your business has become kind of a person. It's in regards to business, so it's like a little business person, and you register that with the USDA. I appreciate that, Nikki. I saw that we're getting some comments. Someone said they have an appointment with the FSA this week. So I really hope that everyone in attendance is getting some great information, because this doesn't just pertain to hemp, ladies and gentlemen. You may say, I want to grow grapes or I want to grow blueberries. So definitely keep all of this stuff. Take notes as well. Some of these forms, if you do need us to repeat anything, please drop us a comment, drop us a chat so that we can make sure that we get your questions answered today. So that leads me into my next question. So let's just say I'm a farmer, I'm growing blueberries, and I've got pecans. You know, I'm in Georgia, we have a lot of pecans or pecans, depending on what part of the state that you're in. And what are some of the programs that new farmers should take advantage of once they become registered? I know you mentioned a few. What are some of them that they should really take advantage of as the beginning farmers?
Right. I would say the USDA Farm Service Agency, the Non-Insured Crop Disaster Assistance Program, microloans, farm storage facility loans, and the Organic Certification Cost Share Program. And in the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service, NRCS, which is our sister agency, that also assists farmers and have also multiple programs that they offer. Take advantage of conservation management plans, which includes technical assistance to help producers manage soil health and water conservation. And for more information, please visit farmers.gov and please go under Beginning Farmers and Ranchers, and you'll be able to find this information there.
You even get me over here taking notes. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, some of these terms and the TAP, and as she said, the WHIP, W-H-I-P, the NAP, these are all programs that are offered by the USDA and the FSA to help you. As she said, with the tree assistance program for landowners, a lot of times programs like this could really help them save a lot of money and crops, erosion control, land remediation. You know, there's so many different avenues that you can really take with this. And for those who live in areas that are prone to natural disasters, you know, one thing, Nikki, that you and I discussed is that when it comes to farming, everything is contingent upon Mother Nature. And there are times where Mother Nature doesn't technically align with your crops and your harvest. So, ladies and gentlemen, some of these assistance programs can help you really establish your farm, but not only establish your farm, keep your farm sustainable in the event of a loss. Because when it comes to insurance and things of that nature, in farming, one thing that I've learned is that farmers are not businessmen, businessmen are not farmers. And neither one of them usually want to do the other person's job. And that is where these programs could come in to tell these farmers, hey, you don't have to write it off as a complete loss. You know, we have insurance programs and recovery programs. So thank you so much for that. Now, I know that you have a presentation for us. You know, we still have some more questions when I get to it, but I'd like to get into your presentation for today because, you know, we don't have all day, but we're going to have a good day. So please open up your presentation and let's let people know what we have and what we can do as well, and show them what you have to offer today in your presentation from the USDA.
All right. Can everyone see my presentation?
Yes, we can see it.
Wonderful. Okay, the USDA, getting started with FSA. The USDA can help you get started or grow your farming operation through a variety of programs and services, from farm loans to crop insurance and conservation programs to disaster assistance. USDA is here to support you and your operation. At the USDA, there is a place for everyone. As the face of agriculture is changing, USDA is leveraging its footprints to meet the needs of all producers. Realizing the USDA website can be a bit overwhelming when trying to do your own research. We're hopeful this presentation will help you understand how to get connected with the staff and begin working with various agencies. Beginning farmers and ranchers are very much needed as the average age of the farmer continues to rise. USDA is striving to support this group of new farmers and ranchers, and we invite you to join us on the journey. Who is a beginning farmer or rancher? According to FSA, a beginning farmer or rancher is an individual or entity who has not operated a farm or ranch for more than 10 years, meets the loan eligibility requirements of the program to which he or she is applying, and for a farm ownership loan, does not own a farm greater than 30% of the average size farm in the county. These designations define rules for participating in programs as well as priority and designated funding for other USDA programs. Some agencies have a slightly different definition of beginning farmer or prioritize funds differently. For example, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, NRCS, Environmental Quality Incentive Program, EQIP, doesn't give women extra weight in terms of competing for funding, but does for beginning farmers. Socially disadvantaged and historically undeserved. As defined by law, an SDA applicant is one who is a member of a socially disadvantaged group whose members have been subject to racial, ethnic, or gender prejudice because of their identity as a member of a group without regard to their individual qualities. SDA groups are African Americans, American Indian, Alaskan Natives, Hispanics, Asians, Pacific Islanders, and women. Veteran farmer or rancher is a farmer or rancher who has served in the armed forces and who has not operated a farm or ranch for more than 10 years total or has obtained status as a veteran during the most recent 10-year period. For entities requesting to be considered as a veteran farmer or rancher, at least 50% of the interest must be held by a veteran farmers or ranchers. On May 15, 1862, President Abraham Lincoln signed legislation to establish the United States Department of Agriculture. 2.5 years later, in his final message to Congress, Lincoln called USDA the People's Department. Through our work on food, agriculture, economic development, science, natural resource conservation, and other issues, USDA has impacted the lives of generations of Americans. The USDA is made up of 29 agencies and offices with nearly 100,000 employees who serve the American people at more than 4,500 locations across the country and abroad. Okay. The Farm Service Agency offers financial assistance to help farmers start a farm, expand their operation, improve natural resources, and recover from natural disaster. FSA is a customer-facing agency. Every U.S. county and many of the territories are serviced by an FSA office. Every state has a state office, which serves as the headquarters. The state office receives guidance from the national office in Washington, D.C., and supports the county offices in carrying out the mission. As a result, we have the largest USDA footprint, meaning the most employees in most locations. Getting started with FSA is getting started with the USDA. In order to enroll in most USDA programs, farmers and ranchers are required to have a farm number. FSA is the only USDA agency to issue these farm numbers. FSA in Florida also serves the U.S. Virgin Island at the local level. We have approximately 105 full-time permanent employees. There are 30 service centers in Florida, servicing all 65 counties, and one service center on St. Croix that services all 3 islands. Employees at the service center assist in registering farms, enrolling in programs, and accepting loan applications. The state office is located in Gainesville, Florida. State office is kind of like the state headquarters, and these employees provide information and supports for the service centers. So what does FSA offer? FSA has 2 major categories of offerings: farm programs, which includes disaster assistance, conservation programs. One moment, please. Okay, sorry about that. Like I was saying, what does FSA offer? FSA has 2 major categories of offerings: farm programs, which includes disaster assistance, conservation programs, safety net and risk management, and farm loan programs, which includes farm ownership loans, farm operating loans, micro loans, and loan guarantees. Unfortunately, we do not have grants for producers. However, we sometimes have grants for nonprofit organizations to help with our outreach and technical assistance efforts. There are 4 categories of farm programs. Disaster assistance can help farmers recover during natural disasters or when there are serious economic disruptions, such as the current pandemic, and provides financial assistance for losses to crops, plants, trees, animals, and livestock due to the qualifying natural disasters and events. The Coronavirus Food Assistance Program 2, CFAP 2, reopened on April 5th, and at this time, there is no closing date. Conservation programs include financial assistance to address farming and ranching related conservation issues, including drinking water protection, reducing soil erosion, wild habitat preservation, preservation and restoration of forests and wetlands, and aiding farmers whose farms are damaged by natural disasters. Risk management programs help producers prepare for and recover from the unexpected. We don't have insurance policies. We have programs that protect crops that are not covered by traditional insurance. Safety net programs provide payments when actual crop or commodity revenues decline below a specific level or price. There is also a program to offset the cost of organic certification. Our farm loans often open the door for many beginning farmers. We're known as the lender of first opportunity for producers who don't have the experience, collateral, or credit to get loans from traditional banks. We provide what is known as supervised credit, and the goal is to graduate producers to commercial credit lenders. Direct loans are made by FSA. The producer is our customer. FSA makes and services direct loans through supervised credit with funds from the US Treasury. Operating loans cover items that are used within 1 year, such as feed and land rent, and seeds are limited to 1-year loans. Depreciable purchases, such as equipment, can be longer-term loans. Operating loans terms up to 7 years with a maximum loan amount of $400,000 and can be 12 months for annual operating. Ownership loans cover land purchases, capital improvements, soil and water conservation, and loan closing and related expenses. Ownership loans term up to 40 years with a maximum loan amount of $600,000. Microloans are limited to $50,000 and have a simpler application process and less paperwork. There are both ownership and operating microloans. A borrower could have both at the same time for a maximum of $100,000. Guaranteed loans are made by partner institutions and conventional lenders. The lender is our customer and determines terms of the loans. Guaranteed loans provide financing for both farm operating and ownership loans purposes with a maximum loan amount of $1,776,000. FSA can guarantee the loan up to 95%. Who is in the local county FSA office? All FSA offices have farm program staff, which include the county executive director, who is the office manager, and a program technician, who is an administrative employee that provides customer service for producers. All offices are serviced by farm loan staff, but they may not be physically located in every office. Farm loan staff include the farm loan manager, who manages the farm loan staff and local loan portfolios. A farm loan officer who processes loan applications, and a farm loan program technician who provide customer service to farm loan applicants. Okay, schedule an appointment. Contact the local farm service agency county office to schedule an appointment. Find the local county office online at offices.usda.gov. The first step in getting started is to schedule an appointment. Due to COVID, our offices are currently open for business, but closed to the public. Appointments are being conducted by phone or through Microsoft Teams, emailing, fax, and as well as mailing. On the first visit, have the following documents ready: proof of identity, a driver's license, IRS EIN number. EIN stands for Employee Identification Number. Email address, survey plat or deed for owned land, leases, and entity identification status, which includes articles of incorporation, trust and estate documents, and partnership agreements. Now, what happens on the first visit? FSA staff will sit down with the farmers and ranchers one-on-one, review their documents, and register their farm with FSA. Staff then discuss what programs and loans are best to help the producers accomplish their goals. Once you have provided all your personal information, you will then be enrolled in a system, and your property will be identified and delineated out of aerial photography and will be assigned a farm serial number. This number is very important for participating in USDA programs, as well as state and county programs administered by USDA stakeholders. As a registered farm, producers gain access to USDA resources, become eligible to participate in FSA county committee elections, and receive monthly email communications. Lastly, I want to direct you to farmers.gov. This website is a one-stop shop for all farmer-related USDA information. FSA is not the only USDA agency with resources for farmers and ranchers. All USDA programs can be found on this website. At this time, does anyone have any questions for me?
So yes, I'm following the chat on multiple platforms. Some of the questions are going to be posted up here, but if you see one there, this one's from Bruce Jones, and it states that, can veterans start a farm or a ranch with no experience and receive funding from the United States Department of Agriculture?
Of course, they don't need experience to start a farm. All they would need to do is, once they're ready to start a farm, contact your local USDA, if anything, for just even information on what to start in your area. Or if you have a lot of the times, the producers or veterans will come to me and tell me that, I'm retired and I want to, find some land, agricultural land in an agricultural zone, or I want to see what commodities are, good in my area. Or, I want to see, or I want to just find some information, or, in regards to farming and see if I can do it, or just any incentives and programs, for us to, willingly participate. And I would say the first thing to always do is reach out to your FSA office. And within your community, I'm sure there's a lot of farming groups that you can also reach out to, like maybe extension offices that offer maybe like free classes or free meetings or training events that will provide you information on, like local crops that are, eligible in your area. But I would always just say reach out to your resources and get some information. If you need help, come into the office and we can kind of tell you, what operations we currently have here in our specific counties, what producers are doing, what is yielding, and at that point we can probably help you pinpoint you or match you to what is the best operation for you. But of course, you don't need any experience to start, being a farmer or to even participate with FSA. You just have to be ready. Once you're ready, we have farm loans if you need funds to start a farm or expand your farm or whatever the case is. Or we have farm programs, which a lot of the times programs, especially in Florida, is disaster driven. So a lot of producers at that time will have farms and say, hey, this year my sales are not doing so great compared to 2019 or 2020, for example, or maybe rain, or maybe Tropical Storm Ida or Tropical Storm Fred or Lisa came by, and my whole farm is flooded. I don't know what to do at that point. Then we have programs at that point where I will offer it to the producer and help them moving forward.
Thank you so much. I can see that we're getting comments on the Facebook feed as well. And we have a question from Antoine Mordecai. I know Antoine's in, I think, Alabama. And he asked, does the assistance include, from different programs, does the assistance include non-traditional farmers, for example, hydroponic farms, greenhouses, or indoor buildings or things of that nature?
Of course it does. Those farming operations are included. We have programs like the Emergency Livestock, Farm-Raised Fish, and Honeybees program, Disaster Assistance Program. Those are for hydroponic producers. Or we even have other programs that I might not be familiar with at the time, because in my counties, specifically Broward and Palm Beach, I haven't had a lot of producers come to me with those kind of operations, but I know for a fact we have programs that service those producers. So what producers can do is just kind of reach out to their local FSA office at that time. And what if, let's for example, they find a program on farmers.gov, or if they come to me and ask me for assistance, then I will do my research to make sure I see what programs are available that can best suit them and then provide the information to them. But yes, I know we do offer programs for that. Or even a producer, for example, I've registered previously. He let me know that he had maybe like a indoor farming, like a microgreen vertical farming kind of situation, like a setup.
Yeah.
And at that point, he was just calling at that point to register his farm with me. He was a beginning farmer as young as 21 years old, right out of school. And what he did was once I registered his farm, he wanted to participate in the environmental quality incentive program. So that's an EQIP program provided by the Natural Resource Conservation Service, our sister agency. So I know he was able to get some type of assistance from that agency in regards to his vertical farming microgreen inside his home. So I know that's an example. Yes, inside his home.
Wow. Okay.
He used the room, one of his rooms, to kind of set up that farming operation, but he said it's successful and everything works perfectly fine. So now he just kind of wants to expand on that venture.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm even taking notes myself because I do aspire to have my own farm. I see we have another question here that says, what are the different resources for non-traditional farmers? I know that different innovative practices are coming forward. So what are just a couple of the resources for the non-traditional farm? As you said, the aquaponic or the hydroponic or even the aeroponic. That's the same programs would tie into all of those. Your programs encompass all types of farming, correct?
Yes, our program encompasses all types of farming. Give me one moment. So the USDA Farm Service Agency offers the ability for traditional, I guess like producers that are, kind of trying out, like you said, traditional crops, for example.
Mm-hmm.
We offer the ability to file an acreage report, apply for farm loans, and participate in the crop insurance through the non-insured crop disaster assistance program, and participate in the Natural Resource Conservation Service conservation programs, in regards to those kind of unique or just traditional kind of farming. And in regards to, and other programs that we offer are more like these disaster, well, for me and what I'm responsible for, it's more like disaster-driven programs. But in terms of traditional farming, I would say, apply for the non-insured crop disaster assistance program to kind of get coverage for those crops, and just apply to our conservation plan programs to kind of help you with those crops, and file an acreage report. So that way you're kind of keeping that kind of information up to date with us on a yearly basis, so that, every year or, program changes, programs are amended, or new programs are added, then at that point you're ready, to begin the process, or, the application process in terms of whatever that program specific is to that commodity.
I see we have another question here, and it states, is a farm serial number the same as your farm track number?
Yes. So a farm serial number is a farm number, but it comes in like a set, a farm number and a track number together. So if we give you a farm number, then each farm number has a track number.
Okay. So
if you have a track number, then you do have a farm number inside the system. And a lot of the times, I would just say reach out to us and make sure that that farm number and your parcel and the acreage and everything is just correct in our system. A lot of the times producers, would change their operation. A little amendments will happen anytime, but you kind of have to report those changes to us so that our system is accurate.
Okay. I see another question that popped up is, does the USDA offer any resources for mycology? So mycology is referring to the cultivation of mushrooms, different types of mushrooms, whether it's the reishi mushrooms or whether you have the lion's mane. I know that mushrooms are a growing market, especially in the way of probiotics, immune system support, and people looking for alternatives to meat. So these programs will also include cover mycology if someone wanted to grow mushrooms on their farm.
At this time, I am not sure if we have any programs in regards to that. But what I can do is just take that question, do some research, and get back to you and provide that information to you, Stanley. And then that way, the information can be provided to the audience. So questions that I'm able to answer, just to kind of let you guys know, provide it anyway. And I will do my best to research and investigate that information and provide it to you as soon as I can. But right now, I don't have any information in regards to that at this time.
Thank you so much. I saw that we did have someone, Ryan Hall. He states, I live in Flint, Michigan. How do I find support to grow hemp in my hemp urban farm? And so he also stated that he lives by a lake with an aquifer. What would he do to get started? So would you say we would point him to find out who is his local FSA agent and reach out to their local FSA office?
Yes, I would say start off by going to the USDA service locator. you can kind of Google that, for example, and just type in USDA Service Locator or USDA FSA, Farm Service Agency Service Locator. And in that way, it will kind of give you a map of the United States. You select your state, and then from that state, you select your county. And once you select your county, it provides you the direct contact information for your local FSA office. And then once you do that, I would call the local FSA office and ask for further assistance with that. And they can be able to give you some more information on that. That's what I would say.
So much.
That's the right step to do.
So for anyone who's watching this, anyone's going to come on and watch this later, one of the key things that you should really do is reach out to your local FSA office. They have a lot of different programs, and as she stated, Google your USDA FSA locator. This will give you the list of the resources that are in your area to really help you get on board. And this is not all for just new farmers. If you've been growing for years, you may not even know of these resources. Definitely want you to take advantage of all the things that we have here today, all the programs that the USDA and the FSA offers. It looks like we've covered most of the questions that they've asked here. I saw that they were mentioning, so Bruce Jones has a question. Where does he submit his ideas to the USDA?
Honestly, I would start off by providing that information to maybe your local FSA office. Like, for example, if a producer was to come to me and provide some information on a specific crop that might not, maybe a specific program, the requirements and the provisions might not, he has more information that can probably fix that or amend it or better serve the producers in that community. I would start off by kind of reaching out to your local FSA office. And once you provide us, the employees that service that center with that information, we can kind of, reach out to within FSA, kind of have a discussion. And then the right people, like our state office headquarters, for example, let's say, for me, I'll provide that information to them and they can provide it up to the higher up chain, which is going to be the national office in Washington, D.C. And if funds are available, or if the information and data is applicable to that specific program, or just kind of changing the amendments on that information provided, then it takes time to process those things. But I do know that that's the right way to do it. Let us know. We will provide that information to our supervisors. Our higher up supervisor will provide it to the national office. And in time, if funds are available and if the rules and the provisions kind of apply to what you're providing, then it can happen. I've seen it happen in the past. It takes time with that process, but that's just the way it happens, those steps.
Wow, this is great information. I've got a page full of notes over here because I've got some Googling to do myself. I see we have a question here from Olivier Prosper, and he says, does the USDA help find farmable land? Or do you guys have like a Rolodex of land that's already zoned for agriculture or farmable, or does that be upon the potential farmer?
That's going to have to be the potential farmers. What farmers will have to do in that case is we don't have a list of land that are available, for example, for you to kind of purchase. I would just kind of say seek an agricultural realtor for that when it comes to trying to find land in your specific zone or your county or community to kind of farm on. But what we do is if let's say you located land that you want to buy, then at that point you need funds to do it. Then we'll just kind of, forward you to the Farm Loan Program servicing staff, and they're going to provide you those applicable loans that best suit you. But we do not help with finding land. I had a lot of producers come to me for that or that kind of request. And I always let them know, reach out to your local agriculture, realtor for that kind of information. Yeah, we don't have a list of, available land spaces.
Well, I appreciate that. And a resource that I'd like to promote to everyone, if you're watching this, look up your local county land bank authority. Every county has one. I've been getting really in depth with my current land bank where I live. And even if it's commercial properties, residential properties, or even abandoned farm properties, a lot of times these are the places where you can buy these properties for pennies on the dollar. I was recently looking over the land bank listing for residents here, and they have some that start at $1,500, $750. And a lot of these properties are properties that the owner may have died. The deed holder may have moved. And there are oftentimes when properties get caught behind taxes, and the family members, once the county can finally reach out to them, they're like, hey, we don't want anything to do with that. That's my great granddad's farm, and do with it what you want. The counties absorb these properties and they sell them for literally pennies on the dollar. If you're a nonprofit, a person, minorities, nonprofit, agencies like that, you get head of the line privilege versus commercial developers, because what the county is looking to do is do something sustainable with these properties, but also keep it within their citizens. So be sure to look up your local land bank authority. Every county has one, and that may be a good resource to find some property. I see that Bruce Jones just stated that South Georgia and North Florida has a lot of land. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, when people think of Georgia, first thing they think of is Atlanta. You know, Atlanta is in the center. It's a little speck in Georgia, but most of Georgia is very rural outside of maybe like the 7 or 8 larger jurisdictions or municipalities. So, you know, you've got like the northeast corner, you've got your Augustas, you've got your Macon, your Columbus, your Savannah, your Valdosta's, Albany. But other than that, there's not a lot of big, you know, cities in Georgia. So the rest of Georgia is full of agriculture. Florida is full of land for agriculture. Now, before we wrap up, I want to really drive some things home to attendees. And I'm a parent. My son is a senior in high school this year. And I've been telling him about some of these agriculture programs. So given your background and, you know, you chose to go to school for this, you picked this specialty. What are some things that you can really leave our members with who may have children or someone who may be thinking about going to college themselves into the aspects of agriculture and agribusiness as we get ready for the future?
Repeat that question for me again, please.
So for anyone that's watching that may have children that may decide to go to school themselves, what are some things that you could tell people who may want to say, hey, my daughter's interested in going to school for agriculture or eco-sustainability or even agribusiness? What are some things you could say that the landscape of the future is looking for agriculture and agriculture business, what may want to push them towards an agricultural career or a foundation in education?
Everybody is different, but I know it always kind of starts with a passion in agriculture, or just even a love for the environment, or a love for your well-being in terms of the environment. So I would say for people just kind of, you know, trying to, you know, study that course or has interest and want to go to school for it, I would say do it. A lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of job opportunity in the Earth and Science Department, for example, or just even agriculture business or environmental policy or biology or plant biology. There's a lot of job opportunities there. And for me, I just wanted to, the environment is constantly changing, for example, and I want to make sure I'm going to be able to kind of see those changes. And I know a lot of people would want to as well, you know, like in terms of prolonged health, food health, and just, you know, everything, you know, just everything kind of goes together in a 360 cycle. So I'll kind of say, to be honest with you, that subject, or even just going to study those kind of courses, it's insightful for you, even if you don't choose a job opportunity there. The information provided there alone, for me, just having that interest made me want to work in that field. And kind of just at the same time, I just wanted to study the environment. You know, food is very important. For example, we go to the stores and, you know, prices, for example, are skyrockets, especially during this time. Things are going up, the quality is going down, the taste is very different. So farming is very important in that sense. You know, you can start from just having your own little garden, for example, and growing food to kind of accommodate you in your household. And once you do that, you'll notice the tastes are different. Everything is different. You're moving different. You're more energetic. You feel healthier, you know? So it's like, everything kind of works together. So it's like, why not? Why wouldn't you want to, you know, work in this field, or, you know, try it out, for example? I encourage it to everybody. If anything, if anybody has questions or just kind of need help with courses that, you know, I've taken in the past, or courses that are helpful in terms of just kind of finding, majoring in agriculture or business or agriculture, for example, I'm willing to help and share with you my process. I know everybody is different, but I know for me, it started with a passion, a need, a love, you know, for the environment, and just me wanting to be able to live long enough to see the changes. You know, I want to see that, and I want everybody to be able to. So that's why I joined the FSA, you know, as well as I'm also thinking about maybe even retiring in the future, becoming a farmer myself. So even just, joining the work team, the workload, the workforce, the work team, and just getting all this information here, I feel like soon enough, maybe 5 years or less, I'll be able to have a farm of my own and, teach people around me. It's nice. I think that everything about environmental studies is nice, but everybody's different. That's my thing on it.
Well, thank you so much, Nikki. You have provided a wealth of information. So again, ladies and gentlemen, there are lots of programs, lots of incentive programs, but it all starts with reaching out to your local FSA, and that is the Farmers Service Agency. It will really give you that list. Like this person here that we had today has been amazing. Like these programs, and I see that the questions, you're really giving great feedback. So ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't hear anything else today, it starts with a passion. It's going to be very hard to go out and deal with animals and bugs and gnats if you don't have a passion for it. If you have a passion for this, because everyone has to eat. Everyone likes to eat good. I eat very healthy. I don't eat meat, lots of fruits, nuts, and vegetables. And as you and I were stating the other day, I want my own farm. I want to grow exotic fruits. I want to do research on what fruits from other areas can grow in my, in my climate, in my sustainable, facility here in Georgia or wherever I decide to set up. So thank you again, because ladies and gentlemen, it's so many avenues that this can help our community. Even the food from your farm can go to help some of the food deserts in the urban communities or in the inner cities. So again, I want to thank you, Nikki, for coming on today, for sharing this information with us, and for really being a highlight, in the farming industry. I know a lot of people see farming as boring, it's hot, it's dirty, there's a lot of bug spray and things of that nature. And you really helped us today to show us that everyone can be a farmer. And if you do decide to become a farmer, there are resources out there for you. Yes, Bruce Jones, great minds think alike. Georgia mangoes would be amazing because I'd like to have avocados. And I know a lot of people think it's a male dominated industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you saw some recent news. We've been talking about CBD, hemp, and how it helps people health-wise, lifestyle-wise, and even develop a better quality of life. One thing that I saw that was the article about Beyonce. She stated that she likes CBD and she wants to start her own hemp farm to make honey and hemp bees. Ladies and gentlemen, that's still farming. Bees are agriculture. Bees are livestock. So if you have some beekeeps, that's like having heads of cattle. So you say, well, I have 10,000 bees. That's equivalent to having cows, ladies and gentlemen. So please don't get the tunnel vision. Even if you say, I don't want to grow anything to eat, you could say, well, I do like succulents. I like perennials. I like begonias, azaleas, tulips. You can be a farm that supplies these plants to your local nurseries, to the local Home Depots. This is how you get those contracts to say, hey, when the county buys flowers for their government buildings, they get some of them from my nursery. And this is really how we can grow this industry while growing our businesses and also growing ourselves. I see we're getting some great feedback from attendees. Nikki, we may have to do this every now and then and make it maybe even a short one, a quick, a micro webinar to just say, hey guys, some latest updates. We're going to come back to some of the questions we didn't have the answers for before, but we're going to have them to you now. And again, this has been a great episode. Thank you to Minorities for Medical Marijuana. Thank you to the United States Department of Agriculture. Thank you to Miss Janet Wright for facilitating this connection between you and I. She knew exactly who to send. As you see, people are saying great info, so informative. That means that we made an impact. When you and I spoke the other day, we had a common goal that if we educate one person on one thing, then it was a success. And so I think that this has been a great success. Thank you again, Nikki. You have been amazing. You are very knowledgeable in your field, and I look forward to reconnecting with you. I'm going to come down to Florida to visit some hemp farms anyway, and I love to swing by and see what you guys are doing in the field and to see how we could really help propel some of that work and push people towards you. So, ladies and gentlemen, the information that was shared here today is not just for the state of Florida. This is for the United States of America. Even if you're in Alaska, I'm sure that they have some type of farming somewhere indoors in Alaska. I mean, they may grow ice, say, hey, I have an ice farm, but hey, it's still farming. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. This has been the latest episode of Sow the Land for Minorities for Medical Marijuana. If you need any more information, questions, definitely reach out to us at m4mmunited@gmail.com. And if you need to reach me directly, you can reach me at stanley@m4mmunited.com. That is my email address. Thank you again, and definitely be on the lookout for our next episode of Sow the Land from Minorities for Medical Marijuana. My name is Stanley Atkins II, known as the Canamedic, and I am signing off. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki.